Hello, so here we are again, Saturday, May 4th, 2024. We did a previous video. In our previous video, we were working with the expression in case of, using it as a condition with conditions, with adverb clauses. So today we are going to continue this video working with conditions in adverb clauses, but using unless, okay? Take a look at this. Unless. What do you think when you read unless? When you think unless, what do you think? What comes into your mind, guys? What comes into your mind? What does it mean for you unless? Unless it rains, unless I lost my cell phone, unless I what? What is going to happen? Unless it's raining, unless it's cold. What is going to happen? There has to be a certain condition, a certain, situation. Okay. It says here in the example, I'll go swimming tomorrow unless it's cold. So if that condition happen, okay, I'm going to do something. But if this happened, I'm not going to do it. That is the meaning. So unless is the same as saying this. If it doesn't rain, for example, if it doesn't rain, okay, I'm gonna do it. Okay. Or so it means if not. Well, so unless it's cold means if it isn't cold. If it isn't cold. So that is an example. If it isn't cold, if it doesn't rain, if what else? Think about now. If it isn't, if I don't lose my, if my passport doesn't expire or isn't expire, that will be something else. Look at this. Think about this. If my passport isn't expire, unless my passport, so look at this, unless my passport isn't expired, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna travel around the world. I'm gonna visit my friend in Korea or Japan, you name it. But what is the condition? Is if my passport isn't expired. This is the condition. If my passport isn't expired. If isn't expired, sorry. This is the condition. So there has to be a condition again. Okay. So let's go back straight to the examples. Let's go back straight to the example, because in this way, I'm pretty sure you're gonna understand better. It's not the same as in case of, it's not the same in case of. I think it's easier. In case of, it's easier than using unless, Unless, we use unless with negative, situations, with negative. In case of, we use in case of with positive situation. But for example, with unless, there has to be, for example, a negative. And compare this. Take a look at the example. Unless it's cold, or if it isn't cold. So let's compare. Unless it's cold, what is going to happen? What are you going to do? I'll go swimming unless it's cold. I'll go swimming if it isn't cold. So it might be confusing. you know, because if something happened and we use unless, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. You know, I'm going to go to school unless what? Unless it's Labor Day, unless it's Saturday. I don't know. You think about it. Okay. So what is going to happen? I'm going to go to work unless it's Sunday. Maybe Sunday is your day off, you know. But let's see. Let's read more examples. So let me take a look at this. And let's read this example. So it says we have to restate each statement. Okay, if you don't buy your ticket today, you won't get one. Okay, unless you buy your ticket today, you won't get one. Okay, that's one example. Let's take a look at number two. Let's take a look at here at number two. You're gonna restate. Okay, let me see. Let me erase this so you can focus on this. So you can travel. Take a look at this. Take a look at this example. You can travel to that country if you don't have a visa. So how do we use unless here? How do we use unless? Give me 1 second. Technical problems right here. So unless it's big. Unless what? What is the condition? Unless you have a visa, that is the condition. So unless you have a visa, that is the condition. Unless you have a visa. So unless you have a visa, you what? Do we need a comma here? Yes. Take a look. Here, we need a comma. So unless you have a visa, you won't travel to that country. You won't travel to that country. There is. Unless you have a visa, you won't travel to that country. Okay, let's take a look at number 3 now. Look at this. Let's take a look at number 3. Let me 1 second. I'm gonna put this on top. So what is happening here? Number 3. This is pretty long. Okay. Let's put this on top. If you don't sign up for the test by Monday, you can take it. You can take it next month. You're gonna get in trouble. So how are we gonna use unless here? What do we have to use? What do we have to do? We have to sign up for the test. Unless you or I, we can say unless I or unless you. It depends to whom are you talking to. Are you talking to yourself? Are you talking to another person? You know, you can use here any subject. Unless them, unless I, unless her, unless she, use subject pronouns. Unless I sign, I'm talking to myself, I'm changing this. Unless I signed, okay, for the test, unless I sign for the test by Monday, So what is going to happen if you don't sign up for the test? Unless I sign for the test by Monday, okay, I won't or I can. You can say, comma, I can. I can take it next month. I can take it next month. That is it. Am I correct or not? What do you think? If you don't sign up for the test by Monday, you can take it next month. As I sign the test by Monday, I can take it next month. You see? So here are the examples. So what about number 4? Let's take a look at number 4. Who wants to do number 4? It is difficult to return a product to that store if you don't have a receipt. If you don't have a receipt. Okay. Who wants to do this one? Okay. Can't make it bigger. Sorry. Sorry. So, how do you use unless? Adrian, how do you use unless in this sentence? How do you use it? Give me 1 second. Okay, Adrian, go ahead.
It's difficult to return a product to that store unless if you have a receipt.
Okay, very good. As you can see, Adrian, he used unless in the middle of the sentence. You can also say or use it in the beginning, unless you have a receipt, unless you have a receipt. So that is the condition. What is the condition? Need a receipt. You don't have a receipt? Okay, you won't do anything. So unless you have a receipt, it will be difficult. Okay, sorry, we have 10 minutes left, sorry. So unless, let me see. Okay, so unless we have a receipt, they say it is difficult to return a product to the store if you don't have a receipt. Unless you have a receipt, okay. It will be difficult or it won't be difficult. Unless you have a receipt, it won't, right? It won't be difficult to return a product to that store. It won't. So it won't be. So it won't be difficult. It won't be difficult. It won't be difficult. You know, unless you have a receipt, it won't be difficult to return a product. ¿Habrá otra forma de decirlo? A ver, piensen. A ver, ¿habrá otra forma de decirlo? ¿Cómo lo diríamos con in case? A ver, in case you have a receipt, in case you have a receipt, what is going to happen? In case you have a receipt, comma, you will be able to return a product. You will be able to return a product. Ahí está, miren. Adelante, Nelly. In case, that is the condition. Unless you have a receipt. Ok, ahí está. A ver. Vamos a ver a Nielin. Perdón, voy a sumar. Unless. Okay, it will be I will return a product to that store unless I don't have a receipt. Sí, también puede ser al revés. A ver, vamos a compararlo así, miren. A ver si tiene el mismo significado, fíjense. Se me ocurre hacerlo así, miren. Fíjense. It will be difficult. It will be difficult. It will be difficult to return a product to that store. Y aquí sí usamos el unless. Si usamos el unless, recuerden en el medio, no necesitamos coma. Solo es al inicio. Unless I have a receipt. Ahí está. Entonces, vean ahí. Vamos a ver. ¿Tiene el mismo significado los dos? A ver. It will be difficult to return a product to that store unless I have a receipt. Or you. Or we can also use the subject you. You know, it depends who is talking to. You know, it will be difficult to return a product to that store unless you have a receipt or I have a receipt. So now let's listen to this. Unless you have a receipt, you won't. A ver, vamos a cambiarlo aquí. No sé, como se me ocurre cambiarlo. Se me ocurre cambiar algo. Entonces, unless you have a receipt, you won't return a product. Or it will be, y así como es, y como el you know. Sí, entonces se queda el it. It won't be difficult, or it will be difficult. It won't be difficult to return a product. Yeah, ahí está. ¿Qué opinan? Son diferentes formas de usarlos, miren. Entonces, vean cómo, en la primera, it will be difficult. O sea, estamos hablando de algo, it will be difficult, or it is difficult. ¿Sí? Puedo hablar en futuro, también puedo hablar en presente. Aquí usé el futuro, it will be difficult, va a ser difícil, o es difícil, ¿sí? También, it is difficult, it's difficult to return a product to that store unless you have a receipt. Ahí está, ¿no? O a ver qué tal este, unless you have a receipt, it won't be difficult to return a product, ¿sí? Ahí está. Pues, pero vean cómo si lo cambié. O sea, no puedo dejarlo aquí de manera afirmativa. Porque si yo digo aquí lo siguiente, unless you have a receipt, it will be difficult to return. No, pues claro que no. No tiene sentido. ¿No? No tiene sentido. Unless you have a receipt. Ok. Ah, no, sí está bien. Creo que estoy equivocado. A ver. Unless you have a receipt, it will be. No, sí tengo que hacerlo. Tengo que hacerlo en manera afirmativa. Es que está pensando en otra cosa. Entonces sí sería así. It's difficult. Ahí está. Unless you have a receipt, it's difficult to return a product to that store. Sí, así está mejor. Así está mejor. Unless you have a receipt, it's difficult. Es que aquí la situación aquí es que los clientes están batallando mucho para regresar los productos a esta tienda. Esa es la idea, que es difícil regresar ese producto a la tienda. Esa es la idea. It is difficult. It's difficult. Pero no es difícil si tú tienes el recibo. So unless you have a receipt, it is difficult. Entonces, esa es la situación. Claro que también lo podemos decir. Unless you have a receipt, okay, you know, it won't be difficult. Unless you have a receipt. Ahí está. Pero suena mejor, está mejor así escrito. Unless you have a receipt, it's difficult to return a product. Está mucho mejor así. Ahora sí ya quedó. It's difficult to return a product to that store unless you have a receipt. Ahí está, mucho mejor. A ver, aquí tenemos un mensaje de Anilin. It won't be difficult to return a product. Okay. Unless you have a receipt, it won't be difficult. ¿Sí? Así es también. It won't be. Unless you have a receipt, it won't be difficult to return a product. Yeah. Así es. Entonces hay que darle esa lógica, ¿no? Hay que darle esa lógica. Bueno, nos quedan 2 minutitos. Entonces vamos a aprovechar estos 2 minutitos para que decirles que tomen un descansito y regresen. Por favor, regresamos a las 11:45, quarter to 12. Okay, you're gonna come back. We're gonna come back at this hour, please. So take a break, drink some water, go to the bedroom, anything you guys need.